Hello Wolfpack. In this video we're going to be taking a fresh look at the short-term price action in the market because we did the longer-term price action this morning, and so the short-term price action is what we're going to be looking at. I've decided to start my chart fresh here because we have a lot of data to look at, but I don't want to overcomplicate things, so I'm going to go through step by step. Might not be a very long video, but let's go ahead and jump over to the 4-hourly chart. The 4-hourly chart is the perfect mixture that I have in terms of charting between shorter term and medium term price action, right? The 4-hourly chart is incredibly useful. Other than that, you'd use the daily chart, the weekly chart, and if you wanted to, you could go to the hourly chart. I wouldn't recommend looking at anything lower than the hourly chart because at that point it becomes too minuscule what's actually going on in the market. But what we can see here on the 4-hourly chart is very clear trends on Bitcoin. First and foremost, what we had here on Bitcoin was a resistance block at around 52k, coming down to around the 51k region, okay? And that was the top of the range that we were seeing on Bitcoin for an extended period of time from early December all the way through to early January. So about a month we had that range. We'll make that red. And the bottom of the box here was at around 45.5k to around 46k. And that was the bottom of the range, right? So we had a pretty clear range here on Bitcoin, and we'll make that green. That we were just bouncing between, and a lot of people said that what we might be seeing on Bitcoin at that point was a longer term double bottom formation, which we did something like that. Now, I told you guys that I didn't think that was likely, okay? Initially, I said that, hey, it's possible, but I saw some information. I saw the weekly chart close below the 50-week SMA, and I said, that's not going to happen, right? Literally a day later, we dropped down below 45.5K, and we dropped down an extensive amount, 14% from the support range. And we're currently at a support block at 40K. And what you can see is that over time, 40K to 43K has held quite substantially in the market over 2021 specifically. And so what we'll do right now is we'll go to the 2021 chart and we'll draw out where that support zone actually is. We can see it starts off at around this 42k-ish region. You could even say it comes up a little bit higher. We'll say it starts at 42.5k, somewhere in that region, and it goes down to around 38. But for argument's sake and for sake of this video, we'll just say 40k and make it nice and simple because 40k is the major kind of piece in which that support is holding. Let's go back to the 4-hour. Let's go to the hourly chart actually. And we'll look at the shorter term trend. The shorter term trend on Bitcoin, and you'll notice up here I have the 45k box here, which I said was the bottom of the previous range. That is now flipped for resistance, and so we have to make that red. So now, instead of the range being between 52k and 45.5k, the range is currently between on Bitcoin 45.5k or 46k and 40k. So this is the new range for Bitcoin, right? Let's draw it out. In this region here, this is the new range for Bitcoin, and some would even go as far to say that we have formed the range a little bit smaller than that, and we're actually forming the range here at around 44.5k. You could say that. I'm not going to say it right now. It's way too early to tell. But what we are seeing on Bitcoin, what we did see, right, is a cup formation. And people really liked the look of this cup formation. I, for one, did not, right? People really liked the look of it. They said that, hey, this is a clear cup formation, and cup formations usually lead to a breakout to the upside, right? However, I saw that instead of this being a cup formation, I saw an ascending wedge formation, which we saw something like this. Okay, I'll draw it out roughly like that. And that worked out. We played it. We predicted that, played to the downside, and we managed to avoid a nice 6 to 7% drop on Bitcoin there, maybe a little bit less. But you know, the point is altcoins drop 10% or more. And so using logic, using the fact that the volume was also descending, as well as the fact we had that ascending triangle where the price was moving upwards, it was pretty clear to see that that trend wasn't going to be able to be sustained. Now, right now in the market, we have a bit of a different scenario. All right, we've corrected down a little bit, and what we can actually notice is that we've come to a bit of a smaller support zone. So let's remove this larger support box right now, right? And let's draw in a bit of a more prominent short-term support zone, which is actually coming from around 42.5k all the way down to around 42.4k or 42.3k, somewhere in that region, okay? That is the new support box for Bitcoin. Okay, and if we can hold this support box, that is great news, and I'll tell you why. Just one more thing I need to draw first is a downtrending level of support on Bitcoin here. That we could potentially be holding at some point as well. So Bitcoin now is in a very interesting position, and not particularly a very bad position, to be honest. If we can bottom out above 42.3k, so that means if we do not drop below, say 42k, Bitcoin will have formed a higher low from the previous lows, which came in at around 41.5k. And also, we would have flipped a level for support that previously acted as resistance, right? This level here. Okay, so we need to be not dropping below 42k here on Bitcoin, right? And we need to be swinging up from this prices. Now, the only problem with that is that this could be perceived as a head and shoulders pattern. I personally don't think it's the cleanest head and shoulders pattern. However, it is worth noting. And what you'd be waiting for on Bitcoin in this scenario is actually a daily close above this region, or maybe even more, right, to actually tell you whether it's going to play out or not, because it's very likely that we could be just being a short-term fake out above or below, but the fact of the matter is what we need to be seeing on Bitcoin is more than a daily close. What we need to be seeing on Bitcoin for me to kind of agree that, hey, a dead cat bounce is in play, is actually a break above this higher red resistance box, right? Which would be a break above 45.5k. If we break above 45.5k, I would agree that, hey, an actual meaningful dead cat bounce is arrived here on Bitcoin, and we will be heading upwards for a period of time. In my prediction, we'd be heading upwards to top out between 48k and 53k. Okay, if we were to go above 53k on that dead cat bounce, if it does happen, that is when I would say I'm bullish on the market again. Okay, so I hope that's very clear. In order for this move, right, this short-term move that we've had up to around 44.5k to actually mean anything, what we need to be doing, I'll explain it one more time, is holding this box here at 42k, swinging to the upside off this box, forming another higher high, testing 45.5k and breaking through it, okay, and flipping that holding of support, and then I would agree that, hey, a dead cat bounce is in on Bitcoin, and we will have the potential to form a longer-term inverted head and shoulders pattern, something like this, okay, inverted head and shoulders pattern, and head to the upside. That is the best case scenario I can think of on Bitcoin right now. Looking at the historical data, looking at the previous data, that would play out by the end of January, most likely, if it was to play out. However, it's a long shot. Okay, but what I will say about this current trend right now, we have been heading downwards over the last maybe almost 24 hours at this point, and the volume is decreasing steadily on this downwards move, which means that there's not many sellers, just as there wasn't many buyers before. And so there is a reasonable argument to be made that, hey, we might be holding this green support box, but I'd like you all to go to TradingView if you have it, okay? And keep an eye on this. If we drop below 42k, we're going back into the range. We're going back to test 40k, and obviously, the more we test it, the more likely we're going to drop below it. But if we hold 42k and we form this high low here, and we start swinging back to the upside, and we break 45.5k, that would be a signal that the dead cat bounce is in play, and that would be a signal that you could potentially start trading again for a brief period of time before the actual top comes in and we crash downwards, right? I want to make this very clear. Even if we break 45.5k, that doesn't mean I'm bullish on the market. I'm bullish at 53k. However, I can see a scenario in which we break to the upside, okay, and we see the dead cat bounce that lasts about a month, and we do some trading while that dead cat bounce is in play. In order for me to think the dead cat bounce has begun, we need to take 45.5k. And the prime time for us to do that is right now, bottoming out at current prices. If we drop below 42k for an extended period of time, you can forget about it. We're going back down to 40k, and we're back in that range, and we'll make more videos on it tomorrow regardless of what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.